Now when it comes to training handstand push-ups on P-bars, we mainly have three different options. We have the very close to the floor parallettes, like so. We have the slightly higher variations that are between floor to knee height. And then we have the higher P-bars that are sometimes freestanding like these ones. I'll show you the outside version because I hit the ceiling here. Sometimes these are fixed at the calisthenics parks. Now I'm actually much more comfortable to do handstand push-ups on a box, on a flat surface than I am on P-bars. I can do more repetitions of deficit, full range handstand push-ups, but it's just down to what I've practiced more. But today I'm training handstand push-ups on the P-bars, and I'm gonna use the progressions as my warm-up. So we're gonna start with the easiest progressions, and then I'm gonna slowly make it harder and harder until I run out of gas. So initially we have the pike push-up. So with the pike push-up, we wanna have a down dog-like position here. So I've got weight in my feet. I've got the P-bars externally rotated, so they're turned out slightly. And then from here, I'm gonna take the head forwards to create the triangle. Elbows stay more or less on top of the hands, kiss the forehead to the floor, and then come back up to that open shoulder position. Now, if this feels comfortable, we can make it harder by increasing the height of the feet or the P-bars. I prefer just to go up with the feet first and then find a position there. Now you could put your feet on the wall, or you can do it like so on a box or some other P-bars, making sure you're still hitting that triangle. Make sure you're opening at the top. So this could be done this way around with feet up on the box or wall, like so. Another fun progression, make it more like the real thing from a pathway point of view, is to take one leg up in the air. So the goal here is I'm going to have the leg, the torso and the shoulders all coming down like so, mimicking the pathway of the actual freestanding handstand push-up. So there, you can even do a little bit of a float and come back into that open position. Next, we can start to use the full movement, but using the wall a little bit more. Now, this can be done back to wall or chest to wall. Pros and cons for both. I'll do a little bit of both. So again, external rotation. I'm going to walk up the wall here. Ideally, toes pointed, slide down, forehead to touch. Now, you could just do that as an eccentric and step out. But ideally, we're going to do the down, like we just did, there, and then walk back up the wall, making sure that we're not collapsing as we do it, stand a bit more into this positive position. Then we have the back to wall version, exactly the same, kicking up to this position, making a handstand position, not a banana position. So there in a straight line, and we're mimicking the freestanding version. So my foot's coming down, head and shoulders come forwards, kiss the head to the floor, and then back up to that top position. Now that one you can ride the freestanding if you've got a little bit more control there, or you can do the opposite and use the wall a little bit more, having a bit more contact. Again, all of these can be done eccentric only if you don't have the strength for the concentric. The only thing I'd do is if you are only doing slow eccentrics, I'd also add in some repetitions where you're doing the eccentric and the concentric, the up and the down, of an easier progression. So you're training both full repetitions and the harder progression with the eccentric only. Now the big difference between these lower P-bars and these P-bars is the range of motion. So ideally when we're training handstand push-ups, we're going to do some deficit work that comes all the way down to this position. When we're using something like this, our hands are only going to get to about there, or my head's going to only get to about there. That's like doing barbell presses like that. We want to come all the way down to this position and all the way back up again. And that's the beauty of these ones and these ones. But you'll probably find that you'll have to do some of these earlier exercises that I just showed, but with the hands raised up and slowly fill that gap. The other thing you need to work on is the shoulder stand position. You need to make the shoulder stand very, very strong and very well balanced. The more you can balance in these positions well, the more you'll be able to just put all your energy into the push. The last thing we want to do is put in loads of energy into the balance, and that means you can't use all of your potential to push back out. So balancing not only the shoulder stand position, so this is the shoulder stand here. So seeing I can balance it, like shoulders forwards, shoulders back towards the hands, feet, doing the opposite, making sure I've got a big range of motion there, but also balancing the pathway into the shoulder stand. Now that could be playing with things like L-sit through to shoulder stand, getting very good at that, and working slow entries to shoulder stand like that. And if needed, doing that, but up against the wall, so you can put the foot backwards, bend the leg and have it there as a safety when you're learning it. And then as soon as you feel ready, we can do the eccentric handstand to the shoulder stand. And again, that could be back to wall, chest to wall, and then eventually freestanding. So we catch the handstand first, and then you slowly come down with control in to the shoulder stand like so, and be able to balance it there. So that way you can play with your entries and exits, not only in the shoulder stand position, but in the handstand in general. We want to get really comfortable with jumping up into this position, being able to move around, do little movements in and out of the position like so, showing control. Then obviously at the bottom, doing the same here, but knowing what to do to bail out. Normally if you just keep weight pushed down on the hands, twist and then go to a side, you'll be able to bail out, but make sure you've got lots of space and just get really comfortable with the bars that you're using, both in the handstand, bailing, and in the shoulder stand, either going out that direction or that direction or that direction. So basically fill all the gaps. And then when it comes to actually doing the handstand push-ups, what I'll do it in two different ways. If you've got the strength, I would be pushing out of the shoulder stand position, so doing the concentric only. Now this is the hardest one from a strength point of view, but the easiest one from a balance. So what you do is you step into the shoulder stand, show control there, and then push up. Ideally pause in a little bit as you go to find balance. Balance at the top, and then add in the eccentric. And then the other way of doing it, there's more balance, more control, but it doesn't use as much strength, is starting at the top and just doing small partial range. So starting here, coming down a little bit, show control, going back up, and then all you do is start to make that deeper and deeper until you get closer to the full range of motion, like so. Well, that's hard to do that on the back end of those other reps and talk, but like so. And then you just repeat exactly the same process, but on the higher bars. I'd recommend doing these ones before these ones. If you only have these, you don't really have any choice, you can just go for it. But that would be the safer way to start on the medium ones before the super high ones, especially when these are unstable. But the cool thing with these bars is you can do progressions where your legs are sweeping down underneath that you can't do on the lower ones. So like 180 degree handstand push-up. So 90 degrees count as like a bent arm planche up to handstand. Well, 180 degrees is the same thing, but you'd start in this position, come round, pass through the 90 degree, and then push up, come pull to handstand, like so. Normally not that slow. But let me know if you have any questions with this one, and I'll speak to you guys in the next one.